Hey, greetings, fellow Whovians. Well, last time we left off, the TARDIS crew experienced some issues with the TARDIS itself. But let's see if they'll be able to fix it up in The Web of Fear. Here we go. Approximately 40 years after his Tibetan expedition in the Abominable Snowman, an elderly Professor Travers reactivates a control sphere during his studies. The sphere inserts into an intact robot Yeti from Tibet at a private collection in London and escapes. In the following days, London is beset by thick fog, and a deadly web-like fungus begins to infest the London underground. Uh-oh. Professor Travers is brought to the Second World War deep-level shelter under Good Street Tube Station, where his daughter Anne has asked for his help to defeat the menace affecting the tube system. Also present are Captain Knight, the current leader of the military Manning HQ, Staff Sergeant Arnold, Practice Knight's deputy, and Harold Chorley, the only journalist allowed to report on the crisis. Following events at the end of The Enemy of the World, Jimmy manages to close the TARDIS doors, stabilizing his flight. The TARDIS materializes in deep space. An unseen entity enshrouds the ship in a web-like substance. As the web clears, the Doctor operates the device to lend the TARDIS away from its original flight course, bringing it to Covent Garden Tube Station. The station is in darkness and deserted, with the city outside appearing completely abandoned. Moving through the underground train tunnels, the Doctor and his companions soon encounter the military, who are trying to stem the spread of the fungus by demolishing tunnels with explosives. The explosives laid at Charing Cross Tube Station are neutralized by the robot Yeti by smothering the explosion with the fungus using web-spraying guns. The reappearance of the Yeti signifies to the Doctor that the Great Intelligence has returned and redirected the TARDIS' flight in order to bring him to the underground as part of his plans to conquer the Earth. Knight, Arnold, and Chorley are initially suspicious of the Doctor, Jamie, and Victoria, believing them to be responsible for sabotaging the explosion. Professor Travers, recognizing them from their encounter in Tibet, convinces Knight that the Doctor will be key to defeating the Yeti. Gee, you think? The group are soon joined by Colonel Lethbridge Stewart, yay, and Private Evans, who are the sole survivors of an ammunition detail which was attacked by Yeti at Holborn Tube Station. Lethbridge Stewart assumes command of HQ from Knight. Meanwhile, the web expands enormously, engulfing the whole of the Circle Line. Further attempts to use explosives to halt the web are blocked by Yeti attacks, but the military's explosive store are being consumed by the fungus. The Doctor discovers a Yeti attracting beacon at the scene, convincing him that one of the people at HQ must be in league with the intelligence and doing its bidding. Dun dun dun. Meanwhile, Chorley, who intends to desert and flee the underground, is told of the TARDIS by Victoria and orders off to Covent Garden to find it. The Doctor, Jamie, Victoria, and Evans rush to intercept him. When they reach Covent Garden, the Doctor's party discovered it to be barred off by fungus. Uh-oh. While they are gone, the base is attacked by Yeti, killing several of the soldiers, knocking out Anne and Professor Travers. The Yeti then leave with Professor Travers' unconscious body. On returning, the group find Anne unconscious and Travers gone. The Doctor informs Colonel Lethbridge Stewart and Captain Knight about the intelligence and the TARDIS. The Colonel decides to recover the TARDIS from Covent Garden Station, hoping that it will allow them to escape. The Colonel leads the remaining troops overground to Covent Garden, while Arnold, Evans, and a third soldier, Corporal Lane, take a baggage trolley through the underground at the same time to transport the TARDIS on. The Doctor and Anne attempt to build a control box to block the signal between the intelligence and the control spheres. The Doctor finds that they are low on components and is escorted above ground by Knight to find more. Good plan. Arnold and Lane put on gas and masks and attempt to go through the fungus blocking Covent Garden with the baggage trolley. But when they enter the web, Evans hears piercing screams. On pulling the trolley out on a rope, Evans finds Lane dead and Arnold gone. On the surface, the Yeti ambushes soldiers at Covent Garden. Despite downing several robots in the ensuing battle, all except Lethbridge Stewart perish. While electronics are on the surface, Knight is killed by a Yeti attack, though the robots leave the Doctor alone. He discovers the Yeti beacon in Knight's pocket, which brought them to the shop. Later, the Colonel returns to HQ alone, where the Doctor finds the Yeti model in his pocket. The Doctor deduces that the traitor HQ slipped the beacon onto Colonel and the Knight. At that moment, two Yeti break in with Professor Travers, who is possessed by the Great Intelligence. Dun dun dun! Through the control of Professor Travers, the Great Intelligence explains that it brought the Doctor to London in order to drain his mind of all his knowledge of time and space. Unless he submits to the intelligence, it will drain the minds of Jamie and Victoria instead. The intelligence gives the Doctor 20 minutes to submit. Travers is released from intelligence's control and is taken as a hostage by the Yeti along with Victoria at Piccadilly Circus tube station. The Doctor and Anne work on the control box further and successfully reprogram a control sphere, which they load into a disabled Yeti to make a covert, voice-controlled ally within the intelligence tanks. Nice. Staff Sergeant Arnold, who turns up disheveled and bleeding, having somehow survived the web, and links up with the Colonel and Jamie, who are searching in the tunnels. All three agree to return to HQ to support the Doctor, though they find that he and Anne have left while searching for a Yeti to reprogram. At that moment, the fungus bursts through the walls of HQ, swamping Good Street's shelter. Lethbridge Stewart, Jamie, Arnold, and Evans meet up with the Doctor and Anne, where the group is ambushed by the Yeti, who herd them to Piccadilly tube station. Arnold manages to slip away and meets Shirley, who has been wandering the tube network and has become hysterical with fright. Ooh. At the ticket hall Piccadilly station, the group rejoins with Travers and Victoria. Shirley and Arnold appear, and Arnold is revealed to be the traitor, having been killed and his corpse reanimated as a vessel from the intelligence. Dun dun dun! The Doctor appears to submit to the intelligence and place himself in a pyramid-shaped machine that the intelligence intends to use to drain his mind. Just as the Doctor appears to be about to have his mind drained, Jamie calls out to the servile Yeti to attack Arnold. Jamie, Anne, and Professor Travers try to drag the Doctor from the machine against his wishes. After Jamie rips its wiring out, the pyramid explodes, and the Yeti and Arnold fall to the floor, lifeless without the influence of the great intelligence, which has now been dispersed back into space. Everyone is happy except for the Doctor. He explains that he had sabotaged the conversion headset and would have drained the intelligence had the device been used, but now the intelligence is free once more. After saying some hasty goodbyes, the Doctor, Jamie, and Victoria slip away and head back to the TARDIS. Whew! Well, that's a lot of heavy and dark stuff going on. Anyway, let's look at some production elements of this story. The future Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart makes his first appearance in the story with the rank of Colonel. His next appearance is in The Invasion, and from that serial onwards, he serves as the central figure of the unit organization. He mentions the Yeti in The Invasion and in the 10th anniversary story, The Three Doctors, and again in the 20th anniversary story, The Five Doctors. The design of the Yeti is significantly different from those in this story's predecessor, the Abominable Snowman. In the first episode, a dormant Mark I Yeti, apart from the earlier story, is reactivated and a transformation takes place. The Doctor describes the subsequent Yeti as Mark II. A Mark II Yeti costume from this story was reused in The Five Doctors. The costume had not fared well in storage, and reportedly had acquired a foul odor, which limited its use to a single brief and darkly lit scene. The novel The Face of the Enemy by David A. McGinty features a brief look at an alternate version of the Great Intelligence's invasion, this version taking place in the alternate reality visited by the Third Doctor in Inferno, with Britain being aided by the alternate version of the Master. A very brief clip of the TARDIS suspended in space from Episode 1 was later included in Episode 10 of the War Games in the next season. In the 2012 Christmas special The Snowman, set in 1892, the Doctor gives a lunchbox with a map of the 1967 London Underground on it to the Great Intelligence during the course of his plans to prevent the Great Intelligence from destroying mankind by means of mutant telepathic snow. Dr. Simeon's card, which is seen in the Christmas special, refers to the Great Intelligence with GI in a Victorian font as his logo. Patrick Troughton took a week's holiday during the rehearsals and recording of Episode 2. Consequently, the Doctor only appears in the reprise of Episode 1, and the Doctor's first meeting with Lethbridge Stewart takes place off-screen. The tube sets were reportedly so accurate that the BBC was accused of illegally filming on London Underground property. According to the director, permission was sought from London Transport to film in the Underground, but the fees they would have charged to do so were overly expensive. Several props were reused from the previous Yeti serial, including control spheres and model Yeti. This would be the final Doctor Who serial in which 35mm film would be used for location filming. Starting with the next story, 60mm film would be used instead. David Langton was originally cast as Lethbridge Stewart, but he pulled out before rehearsals, and Nicholas Courtney, originally cast as Captain Knight, was given the part instead. However, it is an extra named Maurice Brooks who was first seen in the role, his booted feet appearing briefly late in Episode 2. Actor Nicholas Courtney previously appeared in a different role, that of Brett Byron, in the Daleks' Master Plan. For many years, only episode 1 of this story and a few clips of the other episodes existed in the BBC archives. These clips are those that were censored and physically cut from the film by the New Zealand authorities when they purchased the rights to broadcast the story. In October 2013, BBC announced that copies of episodes 2, 4, 5, and 6 had been found in Nigeria by Television International Enterprises Archive / Philip Morris and returned to the BBC archives. Episode 3 of The Web of Fear was originally among the discovered episodes, but went missing in the months between the discovery of the films and their return to the BBC. A week before episode 1 was shown, BBC One broadcast a special trailer following episode 6 of The Enemy of the World, featuring the Doctor warning viewers about the new, more frightening versions of the Yeti. That's pretty interesting. So, yeah, we get to see both the Intelligence and the Yeti again. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. So, overall, I give The Web of Fear 4 sonic screwdrivers out of 5. Well, join me next week as we encounter the Fury from the Deep. So, until then, this is Hoovy and Queen saying, "Oh my Gideon! When I say run, run!" A verse polarity of the neutron flow. Would you like a jelly baby? Fantastic! Allons-y! Geronimo! Bow ties are cool, fezzes are cool, and Stetsons are cool.